Welcome to the first episode of Deal Ready, the podcast designed for small business owners to help them prepare for M&A deals. Maybe you saw the intro video, so yes, technically that's the first episode. If you didn't see it, check it out on our YouTube channel for a little more background. Our mission here at Deal Ready is to help business owners better understand the M&A process so you can get a better outcome. And that's whether you're a buyer or a seller. Statistics show that most small business owners only go through one M&A transaction in their lifetimes. And most M&A deals don't even close. Some estimates suggest that 80% of M&A deals never get across the finish line. So our hope here at Deal Ready is that by sharing our experience in M&A, you'll be better prepared when it's time for your deal. Let's get started with a quick introduction. In case you don't know me, and I assume at least a few of you watching this don't, my name is Phil Fitzgerald. I'm the founder of Amplify Consulting Services. We help small business owners plan and prepare for M&A deals, whether you're a seller or a buyer. I started Amplify about 5 years ago. Before that, I was an investment banker for about 20 years. So when you add that all up, I've been around M&A deals for over 25 years. I've helped large and small companies, public and private companies. Some you've heard of, a lot more you probably haven't. Everything from bleeding edge high tech to janitorial services, and quite a bit in between. I've seen a lot in my travels, and in future episodes of this podcast, I'll dig up some of those transaction skeletons and bodies on the side of the road, and share some of my experiences, obviously changing the names where necessary to protect the innocent. And as we get started, a shameless plug for Amplify. I promise not to do this every time, but here on the first episode, I just can't resist. I'll keep it short. At least give you a little context before you invest more time listening to me. At Amplify, we focus entirely on M&A transaction planning and preparation. We help small businesses, be deal ready. So check us out on LinkedIn or over on our website, amplify-cs.com, to learn more, and even better, hire us to help you. We offer new clients a free, no-obligation assessment of your business's readiness for M&A, including suggestions on what you should do to improve. Okay, that's enough advertising for now. Let's dive right in. What does it mean to be deal ready? I'm cringing just a little because if you know me, you know I'm a big music fan, and that just sounds a little bit like wearing the t-shirt of the band to the concert. Again, sorry, couldn't resist. Anyway, there are two sides we want to focus on when we talk about being deal ready. First, what is it? And second, why does it matter? As we get started on this, let's clarify one thing. We're talking about the business being deal ready, not you, the business, institutionally, operationally. There's a whole group of folks out there who can help you think about what it means for you personally to sell your business. Most people call them exit planners. That's not this. Now, we reserve the right to bring in an exit planner at some point, but for now, at Deal Ready, we're focused on making sure your business is ready for M&A. Documents, books and records, company info, financial info, people and processes. So with that, let me ask again, what does it mean to be deal ready? Simply put, it means your business is prepared and organized to go through the transaction process, and notably, due diligence. You aren't starting from scratch. You've got the things in place a buyer needs to decide whether they're going to buy your business. You've got the things you need in place if you want to buy a business. And yes, there are quite a few things. So what does it mean if you're a seller? Let's start there and we'll come back to buyers in a moment. If you're a seller, being deal ready means that if a buyer came knocking on your door completely unexpectedly, you'd have most of what you need ready and in hand to have a thorough, thoughtful conversation to figure out if there's a deal to be done. Basically, you're prepared for due diligence to start right away. And there are some typical things I'd put on that checklist. Things like a view on valuation, generally and specifically. Up-to-date, well-presented financial info, and that includes both historical data as well as a projection model. A company presentation. Now this needs to be more than just product brochures. A fairly complete virtual data room. All the relevant books and records in one place. An accountant, a lawyer, a banker or a broker. In other words, the deal team. Data on your customers, employees, vendors, or partners the people of your business, a list of active, pending, threatened legal issues, and details on where they all stand. A succession plan. Who's next in line after you step away? And one thing I think is truly critical if you're looking to get the best value possible, a strategic vision for what the company could be, and a roadmap of how you think you can get there. So being deal ready does not mean you have to be a seller today. You can and should turn down any deal you don't like. But you're only going to know if the deal in front of you is worthwhile if you can have that in-depth, transparent conversation with a buyer. And you simply can't have that conversation unless you're prepared. Now, some of these things are nice to have, some I'd call table stakes. But let's be clear, for the most part, even the nice to have items are going to be needed at some time during the process. The point is, the more you have ready, the faster the process can move, especially in the early stages. If your due diligence materials are organized and centralized, if you know something about the potential buyers, and you have your advisors on speed dial, you're more likely to be ready when it's go time. Now let's switch over to the buyer for a moment. If you're the buyer, being deal ready means you too have a good sense of valuations for businesses that you're interested in. You also have your advisors on speed dial. You probably have the first round of due diligence questions lined up, and you're ready to roll up your sleeves and really understand the target business in depth. And you know what your deal breakers are. And you've got your financing lined up and your advisors ready to go when you decide it's time to move forward. In a nutshell, you're ready to take whatever information you can get at an early stage from a business owner and turn that into a thoughtful initial offer. There's a lot more to this, and we'll dig into other areas in future episodes. But at this point, I'd like to switch gears. Now that we've spent a few minutes on what it means to be deal ready, at least at a high level, let's talk about why that matters. If a buyer comes knocking, I can figure it out along the way, right? I mean, did they really expect that I would have all the info ready to hand over? Well, maybe and maybe not. But I doubt they reached out to you hoping to schedule some time to discuss this 5 months from now. The point is, you're in a much better position if you've done that homework before someone starts a serious acquisition conversation, before they ring the doorbell. We've talked about this in the past. Our view, as cheeky as it might sound, is that it's always a buyer's market. Yes, a bit of a contrarian view. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this right here and right now. We do have an article on this concept up on the Amplify website, so please head over there and take a look if you'd like to explore this in more depth. The point is, when the market is good, generally what that means, there are a lot of buyers, valuations are strong, there's a lot of M&A activity. In other words, all things being equal, it's a good time to sell. In this situation, there will be a lot of good businesses that are for sale. There's capital available for acquisitions, which means a lot of deals are going to close. This also means that buyers can move quickly on to the next one if the business they're targeting isn't quite ready for the process, for the conversation. And when the market isn't as strong, meaning the valuations aren't as attractive, maybe capital is a little tighter, buyers are more cautious, generally in those situations, we'd also expect fewer sellers and fewer good businesses for sale. In these situations, the buyer may be more likely to simply put away the checkbook when they find a target that isn't deal ready, or when they see something they don't like in due diligence. So breaking that down just a little bit, and again, a bit of a contrarian perspective here, in M&A, the seller generally has less leverage than the buyer. Whether it's a good market or a challenging market, the buyer drives activity. A lot of options? Keep looking until you find the one you just can't pass on. Not as many options? Well, make sure you're really certain the target is the absolute right one right now. Now, if you as a seller find yourself in a situation where you have some leverage, you've hit the jackpot. Make sure you focus on keeping that momentum, that seller's leverage. But for most businesses, if you're considering selling today, tomorrow, later this year, frankly, anytime in the next 5 years, you should be thinking about what you can do to keep prospective buyers interested and making sure they see you as engaged and focused on making it easy to have a deal discussion. Obviously, in a short clip of 12 or 13 minutes like this one, we can't go into every detail, but do reach out if you want to discuss more. So, as we tie this episode up, I want to share 4 reasons why you, as a business owner, absolutely should invest the time, energy, and resources to be deal ready. Number 1, market risk. Planning and preparation can dramatically reduce the risk and maybe even the impact of market changes. We could, and probably at some point will, spend an entire episode just on this. The point is, a lot of things can change between the day you start preparing and the day your deal closes. A lot of them are outside your control. Things like interest rates, recessions, equity market conditions, and we know I don't need to mention COVID, so I just won't. Number 2, not all deals close. We talked about this earlier, but being well prepared can improve the chances of a successful deal. A lot of deals don't close. Lots of factors, lots of reasons. Some you can manage, some you simply have to endure. But the number of M&A deals that don't get to the finish line is pretty staggering. I can say that from personal experience. I've worked on more deals that never closed than deals that actually did. And even the deals that do close often have major setbacks and delays along the way. The cliche is that every deal dies 3 times before it actually closes, and some never come back from the dead. The point is, the more prepared you are, the less risk of something unexpected happening, something that causes the other party to walk away. Remember, time equals risk. Number 3, valuation. Preparation and planning can significantly increase the odds of achieving your desired valuation. One of the best indications that your business is, in fact, well run and well organized is how prepared you are when M&A discussions start. The more you prepare in advance, the more issues you'll discover proactively, which also gives you more time to address those issues before you're deep in the weeds with a potential buyer. And finally, number 4, the timeline. You can dramatically cut down the preparation phase when you decide proactively to pursue a deal. Deal processes can absolutely be a grind, sometimes 12 months or more, and rarely less than 6 months from start to finish, and that doesn't even include the preparation phase. The longest deal I ever worked on, well, it may be not a typical example, but certainly not terribly unusual. Before I started Amplify, I worked with a small business owner. Our first meeting was in November of 2018. We did some prep work and started contacting potential buyers in April of 2019, a full 6 months after that first conversation. The deal died twice before finally getting across the finish line in 2022. That's over 3 years after we formally started discussions. The point? The more you prepare, the more you can cut down that process time. And as I just said, time equals risk, so I probably don't need to say that again. Anyway, that's it for this episode. If you found it useful, please tell a friend, a colleague, a business owner. Hell, tell me. If you have suggestions or thoughts for future episodes, please reach out and get in touch. In the meantime, bookmark this podcast, like it, send us thoughtful gifts. And if you want help getting deal ready, reach out and let us help you get started. We'll be back with another conversation soon. Thanks for watching.